It is time to get tied on. We are off and running. Little Saturday afternoon of Gulfstream today. And a Saturday card at beautiful Gulfstream Park coming your way. Glad to have you with us from our paddock studios. Jason Blue and Acacia Courtney in the Florida sunshine on a warm but very nice Saturday here in Hallandale Beach.
It is, and don't forget our first post today is 12:55 p.m., a little bit earlier as we do have those 12 races today, but should be a lot of fun. And as you said, got a nice little breeze here, another beautiful day in South Florida.
A dozen races on tap. We'll wrap up shortly, at least as far as the live action goes, a little before 7 o'clock tonight. A couple pick fives, 3 pick fours, and of course that Rainbow Six coming your way over the next few hours. Before we get to Saturday's action, however, let's backtrack. Helped you up off the mat earlier today, and we will congratulate and a hearty salute from us here on GP today to the 3 winners of Friday's Beat the Expert.
Yes, congratulations, Mike, Larry, and Victor. You will be receiving your Beat the Expert polos. I tip my hat to you. I didn't do so great yesterday, unfortunately. Couple winners, yeah, on yesterday's card, but a few seconds as well, which on Beat the Expert Day means absolutely nothing. So congratulations. We do it every week. I think Ron is up next week for Beat the Expert Day on Friday, always free to play.
All right, mercifully, I am not up next, nor are you. Ronnie, the mayor of Gulfstream Park, will be up next. And again, free to play. You cannot go wrong with the Friday, Twilight Friday, Beat the Expert. Now, Edgar Zayas, by the way, speaking of the Friday action, won 4 races. He had a hot hand yesterday, and he continues to ride in fine form.
Yes, he always does, really. I think that there's a couple jockeys. Of course, we see Tyler Gaffleone getting the 7 wins on 4th of July, but there are a couple jockeys in the colony here that really just always are strong, even throughout the championship meet, and Edgar Zayas certainly one of those.
Just turned 24 a couple weeks ago. Belated happy birthday to a new dad, and of course a native of Puerto Rico. Quick rundown, and again, there is plenty of racing coming your way. You've got a dozen to choose from on the Saturday menu here at GP, beginning with the opener around 12:55. A little after, we'll start things out with the dollar rolling super high 5. And you can't start a program, no matter what day of the week it is, here at Gulfstream without the early pick 5. I'll be giving out a ticket in that. And how does middle of the card or thereabouts, the ever popular middle pick 4 sound to you?
It sounds great. Don't forget about that middle pick 4 on a 12 race card. Very popular wager, just 50 cents. And then we have that carryover building approaching $100,000 in the Rainbow Six. The sequence starts in the 7th race today. Always just a 20-cent wager.
And later on, race number 8, the starting point, the 50-cent late pick 5. Again, Acacia will have a Rainbow Six coming your way. We'll give out a couple of pick 5 plays as well. Without further ado, amid fast and firm conditions, we'll jump start things a little after 12:55 with the opening leg of Saturday's early 5. These 10K claimers, in my short time as a Florida rookie, I have learned they come up absolutely wars on paper. Grizzled veterans, number of horses in very good form. We want coverage there. Hoping among the 3 in race number 2, because it is a 6-horse field dominated by first-time starters. 5 firsters, 1 that's raced already. I think among the 3, 5, and 6, probably have the live firster who's going to win the 2nd there. I think the 3rd, and I'm curious to hear Acacia's opinion, is very much a match race between Classic Act and the number 7, Channeled to Win. And moving on to the 4th race, it's the Old Horse Players Lament. I like Brave Request. Last time out at almost 21-1, he was 2nd. Well beaten. That last effort destroys this field in the 4th. He is the anchor. And then let's wrap up with a couple of inside posts and Il Nono in race number 7, as I think Il Nono is going to run very big for trainer Antonio Sano. Had himself a pretty nice Friday afternoon here yesterday and unleashed a good-looking 2-year-old filly who won her first start at a $25,000 maiden claimer. And with the early pick 5 out of the way, let's talk about this turf war. 10K claiming tags, Acacia in the 1st, a field of 8. Out of my own the 16th, and you and I, the old 3-6 exacta box.
Yes, it does look like it could be between those 2. On the rail, the 1 lay it down first off the claim for Yvonne Bosseur as well. This one's a really tough old horse. He's a 7-year-old gelding too, but I think it really is between JC Mamba and Top of the Page. Now, I did land on Top of the Page. He's a big, sizable horse. I think he didn't care for the turf with moisture in it last time out, and he didn't really have that much of a kick going 9 furlongs either, so I I like the slight turn back to the mile and a 16th in here for him today. He won at this level and distance 2 starts back, and it's just been in respectable form.
No, I thought his last was very good, and you bring up a good nugget that potentially rain-softened turf with a big-bodied horse, tough to get over. They kind of sink a little further down in the grass, and maybe that was the case. He still ran very well after launching a very bold 4-wide attack from around the half-mile pole. He did not save ground around that far turn, and he finished up very gamely and stubborn. Now, JC Mamba, let's look at his effort, a win 2 back, as he goes out for the ever-popular Chuck Simon, one of my favorite trainers and racing people here in South Florida. This is 2 back again, May 27th for JC Mamba, who came off a long layoff. This was a good training job for his 6-year-old debut.
He did. I want to just freeze it right there and put an arrow to the number 3, Eastrock, who was also coming off of a layoff. He was really keen and pretty rank on the lead, and we'll just let it roll from there. So he kind of changed the pace setup. You see in the white blinkers, the number 6 is JC Mamba. He was off a layoff, but he looked fantastic. I remember him this day. He was on the muscle. He was on his toes. They stepped him up in class last time out, and I just think he was a bit over his head running against the likes of Diaz, who we'll actually see in the stake tomorrow in the Mechie. I like the drop down in here, and now third off the bench as well.
Yeah, he looks pretty good as this gelding by Mamba has a love affair of Gulfstream Park. Just a quick rundown, and we don't want to put too much pressure on Chuck Simon, who's been on the record saying the great Ron Nicoletti is an established curse. Hopefully these Bluets bullets and, of course, the praise we are heaping JC Mamba's ways, the optimism we have won't weigh him down too much, but he loves it here at GP on the green. He's so versatile, and again, you said it perfectly, coming out of a very tough field and a live race that produced Padilla, who was 3rd last Saturday in the Bob Humphrey Sprint, and even Modern Tale, who ran very well, lost a tough one here a few days ago at around 12-1 in a good turf race. Let's move on to race number 2, second race. To the main we go, and we'll shorten it up to 4.5 furlongs with this 2-year-old $50,000 maiden special weight. 6 are signed on, including 5 firsters. And again, trying to kind of pick your way through this field of a half a dozen. You feel like between the 3, Gabrielle Elizabeth, for Gio, who's got some good works, the 5, Phantom Row, who's looking to be the second Wildcat Air, Ralph Nix trained 2-year-old here at GP in as many days, and the 6 Draco, who you picked on top. One of those 3 is probably supposed to win.
I would think so, and you're right. The Nix barn did have a nice 2-year-old winner yesterday in Capital S, who showed a lot of speed and was really game coming down to the wire. So certainly respect this horse, and Wildcat Air progeny do seem to win early. I was intrigued by the number 6 Draco for Dave Brady. Now, 2-year-old first-time starters over the past 5 years. He is just 9%, but 2 of the 5 winners were in 2016. So recently, out of just a small sample size, he's had a couple of live first-time starters and 2-year-olds. Now, there's obviously Precocity, Astrology. The sire was a grade 3 Iroquois winner as a 2-year-old, and then on the bottom side, he is kin to a stakes place horse and one sibling that did win at first asking, so I went with that pedigree angle here.
Yeah, we'll see what they do as far as the doubles going forward. You would expect there's probably a story between the 3, 5, and 6. Again, not to repeat myself, and I'm sure the Nix Firster can run a little bit here, not debuting in a maiden claimer like the Wildcat Air babies. This one a first foal from a dam who was a 2-year-old winner. And just keep in mind, although Tyler Gaffalione might just be Nix's first call rider, he is spending this Saturday up north at Belmont Park on their Stars and Stripes Day, riding for Nick Zito, including Giuseppe the Great, the Dwyer, and Edgar Zayas riding here. Makes me believe that Phantom Row should be pretty live in the second. We'll have you outside, and you can certainly fill us in on how they look on the way over. You'll do better than try. Excellent, excellent eye you've got with these horses. Let's move on to the third here in the meantime. 7.5 furlongs. These are 12, 5, 3 and up Billiamare maiden claimers. And does it boil down? Indeed it does. In your opinion, and my early pick 5, I'd be shocked if either the 3 Classic Act or the 7 Channel to Win didn't win this race. One of them is supposed to win here, and there's a very good chance with 2 horses who might be in sub 2-1 territory that they're just going to run 1-2 around the turf.
They really could, and I think the Channel to Win certainly has upside. He did get the better of Classic Act last time, or she did, excuse me, last time out. But looking at the last 2 races for Classic Act and now getting a huge jockey change to Luca Panici, I just think that there's every reason to believe that he will be able to make her take that next step.
Yeah, she's the two-step salsa filly, and again, you cannot discount it. Again, we say it with peace and love, and not to disparage or denigrate anybody, but this is a monster rider change to Luca Panici, given who's been aboard over Classic Act's last 4, 5, 6 races, and I do like seeing the colors of Carolyn Hine out there. This might be the only horse good old Carolyn Hine owns this day and age, but it takes me right back to the mid-90s watching her skip away, just win races, grade ones all over the country. Now, I did pick quickly the 7 Channel to win. I thought this horse maybe moved a hair early last time with a big, bold run around the far turn, and despite moving and basically catapulting past a good chunk of the field, she stayed on pretty stubbornly. I'm hoping she turns the tables on the 3 Classic Act. In fact, real fast, here are the 3 reasons why I believe that is the case here in race number 3. Let's see what they do in the rematch, as Channel to win and Classic Act look pretty good. All right, 4th race on the card, 7/8 on the main, field of 6. These are 3 and up, $10,000 maiden claimers. Couple of scratches in here, leaves us with the field of 6, and it's the old horse players lament. We all try, we put the work in, we're passionate about the game, and you're always looking to maybe sound smart, come up with a smart long shot, and I think for the most part, stay ahead of the curve and stay ahead of the masses. And again, this is a 10K maiden claimer. It's not like I had my eye on a future Grade 1 winner, but I thought Brave Request was going to run big last time because this Gelding by Awesome, again, 2 back, had 0 chance, I thought, to do any running off the layoff against the Gold Rail on May 21st. He was beaten almost 10, I get that, but he was second best at almost 21 to 1. My lament is today, he's probably off that effort going to be around 3 to 5.
I would think so. I don't think you're going to get anywhere close to 20 to 1, so my apologies if you bet him last time.
Part of the game. I did bet the place.
All right, well,
Should have played exactas, but
good.
I did have win in place on him.
But I think that now 3rd off the bench, dropping in class again, yes, you're not going to get that price this time out, but it does look like he has every reason to move forward. And horses always just, I think, for Kathleen O'Connell, the more they race, especially off a layoff, they get tighter, they get fitter, and they just continue to improve, though our horses always do look good coming to the track.
And Luca P., it looks like he's locked and loaded, especially in races 3 and 4. It might just win that rolling double with Classic Act onto the big favorite, Brave Request, in the 4th. Moving on to the 5th in the meantime, Myona 16th, as we finish off the early pick 5 with a 3 and up, 2 lifetime, $10,000 claimer. And talk to me a little bit about the number 2, Chasing the Dream, who we both have in the mix, yet did not pick to win as he comes out of a belated and I think finally successful maiden victory. It took him a while, and man, he had the chalk players bullseye on him. Had he not won, there would have been a chalk players most wanted list as far as the FBI goes.
I really think so, and especially because you were getting the Mike Maker barn, and we'll show that race last time out. And I also am going to draw attention to another horse in here, and that's the 6 Hopetown, who's actually my long shot today. He's really done nothing wrong in his last 2 starts, but we'll let it roll from there. Hopetown's on the lead. Chasing the Dream is doing exactly that, as he does finally get that maiden win in start number 10, and it really ended up being between those 2. So we see the 6 Hopetown got the lead. Chasing the Dream, Emisel Jaramillo having to work hard on him. A little bit of drifting throughout the stretch between the 2 of them, but it did turn out to be a key race with 2 next out winners, including Hopetown, who came back to win next time out. Since they've added the blinkers in his last 2, and Pedro Monterey Jr. seems to ride him well, if you get anything like the double-digit morning line odds on that one, I thought he could be in the mix somewhere as well.
Some good points with the price, and you've got the 2 JBMs that just broke maidens. Hopetown will be 4 or 5 times the price of the 2 Chasing the Dream. Again, you get Maker from an inside post on the grass. I just want to see Chasing the Dream come back and do it again at a short price here in the 5th race. So with that aside, you're taking the number 3 horse, Second Street, who I know you'd like 2 back. It was a very good pick because I didn't think he had a chance here on May 26th, and he ran well behind the informed Kate Dynasty, and last time out was at the slow pace that affected and watered down his closing kick.
I think that he was stuck with the slow pace. He also had a little bit of trouble at the quarter pole. I just don't think that he really ever looked comfortable in that race. So I like that he gets a little drop in class in here, though this is a very tough for level $10,000 claiming race. And also, he's now third off the claim. He was facing winners for the first time 2 starts back in that race that he finished second. Unfortunately, no beating Cape Dynasty. I still think you might get a solid price on him today, considering the presence of Chasing the Dream and others.
And speaking of others, you've got ABG Mastro from the rail, who is dropping in for 10K and certainly is not without a chance. I think that horse is a must-use. I like him a little more than you do, as you've got him fourth, capping your super. You don't have my pick. The 7, Il Nano on top. Great colt, and I think this horse will run now. Cornelia Velasquez, for the second consecutive day, I believe, off his mounts here at GP, and you do get a live rider switch to Miguel Vasquez for trainer Antonio Sano. Last couple races haven't been all that much to look at, and he does have to wheel back on short notice here in early July, which is maybe a tall order, but I do believe this is the easiest spot that this Gray Colt by AP Excellent has been in since his third 3 back. And when you take Dream Shot, who won by 10 lengths out of the mix, I think the effort 2 back looks better than it actually does on paper. And I like the field that he faced here just a week ago on that Summit of Speed card. I'll try to get him home in race number 5.
He does need some pace to run at for sure, but perhaps an interesting little nugget and a positive for him is that he is actually the half-brother to the Antonio Sano filly that was really impressive yesterday, Stella Matutina. So maybe a little bit in the family this weekend.
Some good karma. I don't know if that'll translate or help the horse win the race today, but I think that's a pretty cool nugget, and it would be pretty neat seeing siblings win. And I love stuff like that. I love when there's half-full siblings running a day after each other, running on the same card. It's very cool, and it doesn't happen all that often. Race 6, however, happens pretty often. In fact, every day here at GP, and the 6th race on the program will be a 6-furlong dirt race. Now, keep in mind, the Rainbow today with the 12-race card does not start until race number 7. So we'll have leg number 2 of this middle pick 4 with this Florida bred $30,000 to $20,000 maiden claiming race for 3 and up, in which it's all 6 over the 4 and 7 with the 7-4 in the try and a little 2. How about we go 6, 4, 7, box those 2, and key the super on the back end with the deuce?
I like it. Well, let's backtrack to the last time that Fort Liberty, the 6, was sprinting, since that is the one that we both have. Did not like stretching out to a mile last time and was also facing a really tough Al-Shakab Pletcher runner in Alcor. He's the number 9 this day. Now, I just want to freeze right there and highlight in the green silks, the 7 is Equity, who does end up winning. The 9 is on the outside, and we'll let it roll from there. Just thought Fort Liberty very, very game in here. He was beaten only a neck, the top 2 just going at it down the stretch.
And it's obviously the case of the huge drop in class, and you get a horse who's cutting back in distance. This has not been an automatic move for trainer Ralph Nix, and with a near 80-horse sample, special weight to maiden claiming over the last 5 years, the Barn and Nix does a great job. 16 for 76, 21%. I'd say it's pretty average with a move as big as special weights to maiden claiming and an ROI of $1.81. The more I looked around, though, it was the turn back and the drop that I just said, this horse is supposed to beat this field today, and he's going to be a short price in doing so.
He will, but I think, as you said, the drop in class, third off the bench, and the turn back, everything should come together.
Now, Barroom Bouncer has got a neat name, and by a horse I loved during his racing days, was a huge Put It Back fan, and he's the sire, in fact. This is all New York here as far as the pedigree, would Put It Back on top, and a Light the Fuse Dam on the female side of Barroom Bouncer. Goes out for Victor Barboza Jr. He's got pretty good numbers. I think there is some intention here, and clearly as we look at a stat, this is a trainer who knows, A, where to place his horses, where they're most effective first time out, the appropriate level, and he also knows how to get a horse ready to run big off workouts alone. And then you see firsters and maiden claiming on the dirt. Nice ROI, batting above 20%. Would you like to add anything else in race 6?
I think that's about it. Sharp works for Barroom Bouncer. I agree. I like the name. Now third off the layoff is the 4 Cantaclero. The other one we both used was beaten as the favorite last time, but coming off a good race.
Is coming off a good race. Chestnut Colt by Hanson, as we move from a chestnut to a rainbow. In fact, Acacia's Rainbow 6 ticket on the other side of this short break here on Gulfstream today.
At ExpressBet, we celebrate the champions that make horse racing great. That's why we provide more ways to bet from more places than ever. We've built an entire family of brands to give players more of the rewards they deserve. Give bettors the information they need to win and provide a community for horse bettors. Because the best way to support the champions of horse racing is to champion horse racing. ExpressBet. We are racing.
We promised we'd be back, and we didn't lie, as this Saturday edition live of Gulfstream Today comes to you from our paddock studios. Jason and Acacia, and let's not waste any time. 91,000 plus in that rainbow carryover. And what are we doing today?
Well, it's a bit of a guesswork as we start things off. As I said yesterday, we'll rip the Band-Aid off right away in the first leg. I'll single GQ cover up. I just think he's the most likely one to win. Main controlling speed in here. CJ McMahon now third off the layoff because I wanted to spread in a couple of other races. I used 4 in the 8th, which does kick off the pick 5. Using just 2, I think it's a little bit of another rematch in here. Just looking at policy portfolio and campaigners gold. And then as we get to the 10th, that one I thought was wide open after scratches. Certainly Sweet Deal is the main one to be in there, but included a couple others because in those lower levels you just never know. A nice maiden special in the 11th using 3 and 3 in the nightcap as well, and 43.20 with that nice carryover.
As easy as 43 bucks, ladies and gentlemen, and don't forget the 2 dimes. And let's start off potentially with the winner here in your Rainbow Saturday single, GQ Cover Up, who by the way does have CJ McMahon off that rider change, as you mentioned. Gelding by General Carter's, a case of him getting back on his preferred surface?
I think it is. I think you could put a big line through the race last time out when it was taken off the turf. And we'll backtrack to actually 2 starts back. This is on May 25th, his first race off of about a 6-month layoff. And I wanted to show the break. He goes from the rail, and we'll just go from there. He was actually really tugging and very rank off of the layoff. And I think that that's just one of those things. Sometimes when horses have, there he is, we'll freeze right there as we kept up. But there he is along the rail, just kind of stuck in and just not settled at all. In the stretch, he runs on nicely outside. Porter Street is the 4 on the outside, just in solid form and a nice winner there. But I thought early on in the race, because GQ Cover Up just never really looked comfortable.
At Porter Street, the Calabrese colors, the gray rolls past Lady was the big 3 to 5 favorite, dropping in for 35 G's. Reed Nagel, very sharp trainer as well, and that horse very dangerous. I will try the one next to him, however. I've got GQ Cover Up second. I'm a fan of the 4 house account. He'll be a good enough price where he's still lightly raced, and again, he was bias compromised, 2 back on May 10th. He was part of a mad scramble down to the wire most recently. If he works out a trip today, and he's going to need to in a big field, takes a little step forward, he should be right there in a race that they're just, even though you singled, you might have to wait with bated breath to turn for home and charge to the wire.
Certainly.
Not an easy race to start things out in Saturday's Rainbow. On to race number 8 here as we go down the stretch, and 8 races in, it's time now for Saturday's late pick 5, and we'll give you a brief little rundown of how I see it. I will take a single in leg number 3. That is the 10th race on the card. I thought that horse just looked a little faster than the others in the 10th race. That was the number
11, Sweet Deal.
Yep, Sweet Deal, yes. 4 pages deep on my daily racing form. Thank you. That horse may have just timed it right. We'll kick things off with the 3 chalks from good posts for good connections. I thought the 9th, it was a case of 7.5 being right between the eyes of the 2 and 7. And I've got some wacky price ideas coming up in race number 12 if you do care to stay tuned here on Gulfstream Today, and we certainly hope that is the case. Now, Sulfatara, as we get into our spotlight with this 8th race, which, by the way, is a 62.53 and up filly mare claimer on the dirt, is turning back slightly to 3/4, looking to avenge and make amends for that tough head loss last time out.
It was a tough beat, and we will backtrack to June 10th. Was the number 5 that day. You can see closing 3 wide, actually broke really sharply, and we'll just let it roll from the quarter pole. Broke really sharply and then settled a little bit further back, started moving around the final turn. And I think one of the biggest things with this is that she just did not switch leads. And you can see she's just not really looking very comfortable in the stretch. Jockey Nikki Figueroa trying to get after her, going right-handed, switching even to left-handed. And on the outside, I'm Really Something, the 6, does come running and just catches her.
Nailed her at the end. We'll see. She's in for 62.50 again. I think what you see is what you get. You love to really have some earth-shattering opinions on Solfatara. She's just a major player here, and one, if you're playing multis, she is a must-use. However, you and I will both try to key our trifecta in the 3rd spot, with her finishing the 3rd spot in the try, and we're taking mid-pack runners in the 4 BL's wagon off the claim for Zadie, is why I like this 7-year-old mare, who admittedly is just one for her last 23, and that does concern me, but she's fresh here for Zadie off a near 90-day layoff, and you like the 5 College Holly.
I do. Well, I did see that first off the claim, going from turf to dirt for Angel Rodriguez, which is exactly what College Holly is doing. He's 3 for 5 winning and 4 for 5 in the money with an ROI of more than $3. If you ever get any sort of bigger price on this barn, I think you have to take a look.
Yeah, dangerous trainers. Obviously, Zadie and Rodriguez, 2 outfits that take quite a bit of play whenever they're running a horse here at GP, and they look like the main danger to Solfatara off that tough head loss. On to race number 9, as we start the final pick 4 with the 7.5 furlong, 3 and up, 2 lifetime, $10,000 claimer, in which I again think 7.5 furlongs will be the right distance for the number 2 Crown Lake, who's in off a near 5.5-month layoff, and I am very much a fan of the 7 Campaigners Gold, who, by the way, has Edgar Zayas riding for Cornelia Velasquez, and Jose Pinchin sending this one out. Again, much like the horse I picked earlier in the day, you take Dream Shot out of the mix. I thought Campaigners Gold, first crack at this level on the turf since breaking his maiden, was a respectable effort.
It was, and he also was stuck with a really bad post last time, so I think he's a little bit better spotted today. And I do think the main speed in this race is going to come from the outside in Bodie Dog, who unfortunately is just not that consistent and took a while to break his maiden, but he's actually been in okay form lately. I did land on Policy Portfolio, which I know is a question because he's stretching out, but I think he's going to show more speed on the stretch out. This is a horse that just always runs his heart out, and so that's why I kind of am giving him another try, going 2 turns. Big jockey change today, I think, to Jorge Ruiz.
All right, for Boogie Mirage, we'll see. 7.5. I don't think talent is the question with him. He's a perfect fit for this level, and I would say he's been facing tougher fields going 5. We'll see if he can stay the 7.5. You make a good argument why he should be up to the task. Moving on to the tent today, field of 9 as we hit the dirt. A 6 furlong, 3 and up filly mare, $10,000 claimer. And in looking at the pick 5, I know this was a 3-horse spread for you. You glance at this race, and we both picked the likely big favorite on top, the 11 Sweet Deal, who, if you're looking at any sort of speed figures, quite simply, this gray filly by Overdriven just looks faster than these.
She really does. She's got the outside post, but there are a couple of scratches to her inside, so she'll move in 2 posts in here. She's getting a drop in class, back to a fast track, and yes, there's speed right inside of her in Poda, but I agree. I just think that she's going to be faster than these. But she really does have to show up with her A effort. I thought, if anything, even a first-time starter from Louis Duco with a sharp work in Maminka with Jorge Ruiz, those 2 actually are really potent combos, so that's why I threw that one in the exacta.
All right, we'll see if that horse gets bet at all. You figure Sweet Deal's going to be a big favorite, but maybe you get one, a firster that takes some nibbles into the big chalk, and of course you'll keep us up to speed with that 4-year-old filly. First time out in race number 10 here at GP. Final turf race on the card on this 12-race program goes as the opening leg of the late double. Field of 7 after scratches in this 2-turn grass mile, a 3 and up maiden special weight. Rematch between the 5 Devise, who's going to be favored here. Ron's best bet, my best bet. You picked him on top. He does look pretty good, and I just think logical, reasonable thinking and assumptions point to this colt by Smart Strike giving you his best race today, third time out. And if that's the case, I think he's just supposed to win here.
He is supposed to win. In his debut race at Tampa, he really never got involved because he was totally cut off at the break, and that was only going 5 furlongs. Then he came back, stretched out for Mark Casse. They kept him in special weight company going 2 turns. And I actually thought that he was kind of mid-pack, whereas King Morrow was last early closing and might have just had a little bit momentum, even though they finished up kind of the same. But King Morrow, unfortunately, has just kind of been racking up the defeats.
Yeah, that's the problem. He's 0 for 5 on the turf. He did run pretty well last time, King Morrow, and there might not be that much separating this pair in the ability department because King Morrow had 0 position, as you noted, down the backstretch. Looked like he tried to follow Devise on the turn but got stopped a bit. But I also think Jaramillo aboard Devise had to wait. He had to wait a little longer than he preferred because he was stuck in traffic. So you've got the rematch there. And quickly, Acacia, you tried to split them with the 6th Grand Chief, who's second time out as a son of Pioneer of the Nile.
And trying turf for the first time, just a little bit of a pedigree angle at a price. I believe he's 8-1 on the morning line. He's half to grade 2 winner straight from Texas, who was an 8-time grass winner.
All right, we'll see that Knicks dropper coming out of that Alcor race a bit earlier in the card at a short price on the dirt. We'll wrap things up, though. 12 races on the program today, and your finale, a short one on the main, 5.5 furlongs, field of 9 in this 2 lifetime 6250 claimer, in which my goofy bias idea, the more I watch the races on June 24th, you were soaking up the sun somewhere on vacation. But I think this is a day.
Connecticut pageant.
That's right. You were working. That was a working vacation for Acacia. There's just no letdown in her, folks. Believe me. But anyway, I think that June 24th card on the dirt was a day, as I watched one race after another, wide closers, paces were falling apart, outside flow basically defined the action on the dirt. If that's the case, and even though this horse doesn't look all that great and is 1 for 27, this horse pulled a pretty good second on a dead rail trip. I'll try to shake things up with Key to the Storm here in the last at a big price, along with the 7 King James Court, who was also down towards the inside.
Hey, if you're trying to find prices, sometimes the nightcap is the place to do it. I did take the pass on that horse. Landed on the class dropper Gruber to the outside, second off the bench and back to the dirt. Definitely looks like he prefers the dirt as opposed to that turf try last time for the Bratty Barn.
Yeah, it looked like that race may have been a means to an end, and he's the one they've got to get around. Old Gruber here in race number 12. We'll have Ron Nicoletti, of course, our favorite, coming up on the stage. One of our favorites as well. Acacia will be joining you in the walking ring. I'll be trying to play traffic cop all day long, and the man upstairs, the wordsmith here at Gulfstream Park, the one and only Pete Aiello, is coming up shortly with your scratches and changes.